Welcome to hell. That's right, everybody. We're in it. This is a not so fantastic Fashy Friday, the first week of the Trump administration, and it feels already like it feels like it's been 3 months. I'm just gonna be. It's been like maybe a month. But the inaugural stream that I did on YouTube, if you wanted to treat yourself to that, you can always go back and watch it. That feels like it was about 6 to 8 weeks ago. And then my new show on Zateo feels like it started a month ago. And then I don't know, my daughter screaming at bedtime feels like that's been actually literally been months. And here we are. It's a Friday. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for pressing play, and thank you for tuning in live. If you are here live, make sure you are liking and sharing the stream. You know, it's the little things we can do. You know, if we can't do revolution now, just like and share the stream, people. It is, until such time as we cannot stream anymore on this corporate platform known as YouTube. Also, our not so corporate platform, I guess. If you want to, I don't know who Megaphone is owned by, but that's how I distribute the podcast. So, thank you so much in advance for your support. Thanks to all the new Patrones, the people who up their pledge. It's been a good week. Had a live stand-up show on Wednesday. If you are in the LA area, I'm doing another show February 19th. That's a Wednesday. All new lineup except for me. It's going to be great. That's felt like a million years ago. But again, patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. On Wednesday, we had a bonus episode. We talked about looking at the Trump tax cuts that are coming. And we also talked about the avian flu, the H5N1, and all that we have to look forward to, given that internal communications in the NIH and the FDA and the CDC have all been banned. Just like you cannot, if someone dies of bird flu, nope, don't report it. No more reporting of death. Or at least you could report it, but you can't tell anybody else about it. Which is great. You know, that's like, I think the best leadership is done blind, just driving blind, just pure instinct. You and your burning cross and your grudge against the world and the right to say whatever word you want to say. We make fun of it, but it is quite literally awful. Everything is awful. Everybody is in the crosshairs right now, especially our undocumented neighbors, friends, family. That is what is currently happening. So I hope all y'all know, don't open the door. Don't open the door. Don't talk to ICE. You don't have to talk to ICE without a warrant. And we are in real rubber hitting the road period. We are in a moment where we're going to learn out real quick how vital undocumented immigrants are to our economy, to our lives. I mean, it is really grotesque to only think about 11 million people as, parts of the economy, but they are. And they are also parents and children and loved ones and husbands and wives and all of that. So, okay, you know what? You know what's crazy though? They're not going after just criminals. Isn't that insane? No, Newark was raided. A business was raided by ICE agents, and multiple people were detained, according to the mayor there. The mayor of Newark, New Jersey, said federal immigration agents raided a local establishment. Mayor Ross Baraka said in a statement that Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents detained multiple people, including a United States citizen, a U.S. military veteran, and undocumented individuals. According to Baraka, the agents did not produce a warrant. See, and here's the problem. You don't got to fucking open up to that. You can say, no, thanks. No, how about no? Not today. Not today, ICE. Today, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents raided a local establishment in the city of Newark. This is the Baraka statement. It's an egregious act in plain violation of the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which guarantees the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Is that, oh, I'm sorry, is that part of the Constitution? Are we still doing that? Oh my God. Stop being so woke, DEICRT. Oh, God. So, from what I've gathered, the only people who are kind of mounting an offense or a defense, if you will, against Donald Trump and ICE are mayors, governors, and actually police departments. Some police departments that are like, nah, I'm not gonna, to carry out your actions. I'm not gonna rat people out to ICE. However, this just in, Trump's DHS just invoked a never before used authority which permits the federal government to deputize any state or local law enforcement officer to have the same powers as an ICE or Border Patrol agent. So, if you don't want to be an immigration enforcement officer, too bad, you are now. Anyone can be I mean, honestly, like, I'm surprised it ends at law enforcement. Anyone else? Like, it's Trump country, baby. Anyone is self-deputized. All you got to do is, just make a little badge, out of, I don't know, the little like nest you sleep in, and pull some twigs together, put it together with semen, obviously, and then put it on your chest, and then walk around your house and be like, "See, family, I'm a I'm an ICE agent now. Family, you don't have a family. That's a spoiler alert there. They left a long time ago. So that's that is what's just happened. Um, and it is bearing out already, as I talked about actually a couple days ago with John Idarola on the damage report, that farm workers aren't showing up to work. Dairy farm workers aren't showing up to work. I've interviewed people who work at egg farms, and we talked about that on Wednesday. People are definitely not showing up to work. Prices are going to go up. The mayor said, "I'll be holding a press conference in alliance with partners ready and willing to defend and protect civil and human rights. Details to come. Newark is considered a so-called sanctuary city." Spokesperson for ICE told CBS News New York in a statement late Thursday, conducted a targeted enforcement operation at a work site today. Sure. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement may encounter U.S. citizens while conducting field work and may request identification to establish an individual's identity, as was the case during a targeted enforcement operation at a work site today in Newark. Yeah, better bring your passports to work. Better bring your birth certificates. Better bring your social security cards to work. This is an active investigation, and per ICE policy, we cannot discuss ongoing investigations. The owner of Ocean Seafood Depot, located at Adams and Delancey Streets, told CBS News New York that about a dozen ICE agents came in unannounced around 11 a.m. They didn't have a court order. I mean, I didn't even ask, he said. Okay, my guy, you got people to protect, okay? The owner said his manager tried to show his veterans card, but the agents did not accept it. A couple of the guys couldn't show their identification. The owner said, 26 years in business, I've never seen anything like this. The owner said people were taken into custody. Surveillance video shows what happened to what appears to be federal immigration agents taking a man into custody outside the fish market. When asked whether the operation would deter his other employees from coming to work on Friday, he said, yes, exactly. That's the question. Now, here's the real question. Let's say there was an undocumented person there, right? That's not a crime. It's a violation to cross the border, not a crime. Certainly not a violent crime. Certainly not, battery or arson or, murder or rape or any of that. What happened to that person? Was there someone undocumented? Are they a criminal? Are they a criminal beyond what you deem to be criminal, which is them being in this country without proper paperwork, maybe for decades? Is there anything criminal about that? So everyone participated in this language of, so long as they get the criminals, I'm okay. I need you to shut all the way up. All the way up. And there were many people, and still are, And I remember we talked about this in the first Trump administration. Same thing. Draconian ICE policies. ICE gets expanded. Everyone gets a raise. And there was a local law enforcement officer, I believe in Washington State, and he was like, I don't know, I voted for Trump, but I never thought they would take Manuel. And it's like, oh, who's meant? Like, he's like, oh yeah, he was my neighbor. He's a good guy. He's a good person. But I didn't think they would take him. Yeah, they are, because they don't care, because it's everybody. Your community is not exempt. You trying to split hairs here and parse this is bullshit. ICE itself, I believe it was in 2017, 2018, right around the time when, the sort of beginnings of the backlash to Trump, the squad gets elected. ICE itself, do you remember, put out a memo? And they were like, look, we can't do our jobs going after actual criminals who might be a threat to people, because we are asked to do far too much just blanket sweeping. So, in fact, we could do our jobs better. And they were saying, and this wasn't all ICE agents, it was like a handful of them were saying, like, maybe ICE shouldn't exist. Like, the INS was actually working pretty well. ICE doesn't need to exist. There is no point to this. Let's switch it up a little bit, because we're not actually able to go after the real criminals, if in fact there are any. No, nobody cared. Nobody cared. That didn't happen. What they wanted themselves to be a more efficient department. They're like, nah, we don't want efficiency. Here's the efficiency: make more money for the private prison industry. That's the efficiency. The efficiency is simply making hand over fist money. We're in it, guys. We are in it. We're in it. And so, there's no more, how could he? There's no more, why can't they? There's no more, what will we? We're in it. Right? This is it. ICE said it's made 538 arrests so far. Representative Nicole Maliotakis said those arrests include in New York of an MS-13 gang member, a sex offender, and a drunk driver. Sure, I'm sure. What about the other 535 people? What did they do? So I'm sure there's just really violent jaywalkers all over really violent, illegal, tamale sellers, places where you're not supposed to sell street food. Just a lot of violent street vendors who are violently hawking bacon wrapped hot dogs outside of concerts. Just so violent. Rachel Atwood, props to Worcester public schools for icing out ICE. Yes, they're targeting schools. So yes, some schools, I mean, this is it, man. It's schools, it's churches that, by the way, now no longer have protections under Donald Trump, but it's like, what are you going to do? How are you going to protect your people? And on top of that, it's like, think about it. I guess when I think about children, it makes me really, upset, because you think about the stigma that is attached to being undocumented when it doesn't need to be, when your fellow student is no different than you are. And yet, because of the examples of our government and, the directives to ICE and our law enforcement agencies right now, and even in the act of trying to protect a child, people are going to start out, finding out people's status, right? I mean, the same thing. I mean, obviously, I'm thinking about trans kids too, but it's all about, like, who are you? Are you one of us? Are you one of them? Are you this? Are you that? And it's like, these are the people who apparently don't give a shit about identity politics. Sure. These are the people who want to get rid of DEI. Yeah. These are the people who think that race and gender, it's all driving us apart. By the way, what's in your pants and what's your status? So, it's bad. It's bad. But there's a particular angle of bad, and that is when it comes to having a uterus in this country anymore. I just say get it removed. Get it removed, have it be like a side piece, you know what I mean? Like a sidecar. Not like a side piece, like a sexual side piece, but like a side like, can you just, like, put it on the side and then be like, that's over she's over there. She's over there, go get her." But basically, the March for Life rally is today in DC, and, if you didn't know what the March for Life rally is, it's pretty much, um, the Serengeti of virgins, the watering hole for every a-hole who never had an independent thought from their Republican father, and mostly consists of white, straight, cis men, some women in there. There's a couple women. They're out in full force, of course, and they're joined by just really God-loving, morally upstanding people, like the far right group, the Patron, the guys who just like bandage themselves up like mummies who are on like a security night shift. Yeah, so they're out there. They're taking the metro. That's very woke of them. I wonder if they countered any POC on the metro in DC. How very terrifying for them. So, again, they learned their lesson about the U-Hauls. Remember, Patriot Front were very into doing the U-Hauls, and they're like, "No, man, this makes us look stupid." So now they're like, "We're gonna take the metro. Just keep it cool. Everyone act normal, like we're not all wearing the same psychotic outfit." Um, and it's like, you know what? If this is look, if you got a QAnon mom, go get her, talk to her. But if your son or your brother or your friend is going to the is part of the Patriot Front, just talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Talk to them. Reach out. Reach out and then immediately call the cops. No, just kidding. The cops are part of them. So though that's unsavory as it is, the point of all of this actually is where the last article was heading, is that Trump has actually pardoned 23 anti-abortion protesters. Now you might be saying, pardoned for what? What do they do? What do you mean? Why would they have gotten a charge? Oh, they've gotten many charges. It turns out, so-called pro-lifers are in fact very violent. They believe in the sanctity of human life, so long as that human life does not want full human rights. That's very important to them. And Donald Trump was like, yeah, all the people who've committed violent crimes, whether they be aggressing on abortion providers or abortion seekers, or I don't know, storing a bunch of fetuses in your home in the freezer, you're going to get a pardon. So President Trump pardoned 23 protesters convicted of blocking access to abortion clinics, a federal crime, on Thursday. The protesters were prosecuted under the Freedom of Access to Clinics Entrances Act, which, yes, is an act that came about because people were blocking access to abortion clinic entrances. A law that bans the threat of force, obstruction, and property damage intended to interfere with reproductive health services. The statute was created in the 1990s after a wave of bombings and assassinations at abortion clinics. People who attack anti-abortion crisis pregnancy centers have also been convicted under the FACE Act, which is very funny because we all know crisis pregnancy centers are just sham abortion clinics. They are just sham reproductive health clinics that are mostly, I don't know if they can actually get federal funds, but they're like religiously backed. They now outnumber the amount of actual reproductive health clinics. And they basically give you a bunch of literature about why you are killing your unborn baby and you're evil and going to hell if you do so. So cool. Anyway, Trump's announcement comes as anti-abortion advocates gather for the 52nd annual March for Life rally today in Washington, D.C. Vice President J.D. Vance and top congressional Republicans are set to speak at the event rally at noon. I have to find my J.D. clip. Maybe someone has. They could throw it to me. We're thrilled that Vice President Vance has chosen the National March for Life for his first public appearance in his new role, said nobody. We're so glad that JD is coming through. A sign of his commitment to standing up for life. Trump, who takes credit for upending abortion access across the nation, has a history of shifting abortion views. Yeah, we know that. In March, he floated the idea of a national 15-week ban before declaring in April abortion policy should be left to the states. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Left to the states. Just like, I don't know, the death penalty, which they're now through an executive order saying, nope, more death penalty. Fuck the states. Don't care about your anti-death penalty, measures. We want more death. We want more death, but we want to give them life first, almost as if we relish in death. So there's definitely going to be a nationwide abortion ban, guys. It's coming, just like everything else is coming. Again, except for the dudes at the March for Life rally. And let's see. The coalition of anti-abortion groups are calling for Trump's administration to reinstate regulations on mifepristone and enforce a 19th century law that they can argue can ban the mailing of abortion bills. That's the Comstock Act. By reinstating the risk evaluation and mitigation strategies for, again, mifepristone, which is safer than Viagra. The FDA will ensure the abortion pill remains subject to appropriate medical oversights that protect women and girls from harm. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. There's nothing like protecting women and girls from harm than ensuring, in fact, requiring them to carry their rapist / family member's child to term. Just think about, that's just such a blessing. It's a blessing. Guys, I'm this close. I'm this close. I'm this close to going full Catwoman mode, fucking Kill Bill mode, learning how to use a katana, learning how to do mass castrations, deep undercover, fucking ninja assassination shit. God, I swear to God. I'm this close. I'm this close. Don't push us. All right? You think 4B is crazy? The 5th B is this B. You know what I'm saying? In a letter sent to acting U.S. Attorney General James McHenry, anti-abortion leaders asked Justice Department to rescind the Comstock-related memo issued by former President Joe Biden's administration. The DOJ's Office of Legal Counsel released an opinion in December 2022, arguing that the U.S. Postal Service can ship abortion pills anywhere in the country, even in states that ban abortion. The memo essentially said mailing the drugs does not mean they will be used illegally. Mifepristone and misoprostol, again, the two drugs used in medication abortions, are used to treat miscarriages and postpartum hemorrhaging. Additionally, oh my God, I can't. Like, the rage I feel around how the grotesque treatment of women's bodies at this moment, allowing them to die instead of possibly performing any procedure that could be interpreted by some fucked up judge as an abortion. The rage I feel for them, right under here is the Democratic Party. So rage here, Democratic Party rage right here, meaning the rage I feel for Donald Trump and the Christian nationalists that have taken over this country and the oligarchs is like just a hair beating out the deep rage I feel for the MFing Democratic Party that dropped the ball so hard and then kicked it farther and farther and farther into the fucking outfield. My God. How did they lose? How did they fucking lose? It's just beyond me. And it's done. And it's done. You know, I was thinking today, I was like, we need another party. That's it. Like I'm pretty much done. Especially like what? 3 months after the election. You don't have anyone emerging as some kind of leader. You don't have a policy platform. You don't have any kind of like, you don't have a plan. You're not worth your salt as a party. You're not a party. You're not a party. So yeah, John Fetterman can switch parties, whatever the hell he's going to do. It doesn't really matter. He could stay for all I fucking care. We need and I don't say any alternative, but we need a viable alternative, and we need it quickly. But there's nothing worse than losing this hard, but not even gathering together to do an honest postmortem / develop a plan of defense, of offense, of getting back out there. I don't understand, sports analogies. It's like, again, it's wanting to lose. It's throwing up your hands. It's the very people that you said you were trying to protect. When it doesn't go your way, you're done protecting them. And again, there's outliers, there's mayors, there's, some leaders who are trying to do whatever they are. But Marco Rubio confirmed 99-0. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for leadership ever trying to actually lead. They never took this shit seriously anyway. They never did. We wouldn't be here if they did. And I also wake up in the middle of the night and I get mad at Bernie Sanders. Again, he's soft pedaling Joe Biden in 2020. It should have been Bernie. It should have been Bernie in 2016, but it sure should have been Bernie in 2020. We should have never had President Biden. Yes, he did a good thing or two. Should have never been Biden. Never, ever been Biden. Anyway, there was someone else who was at the Patriot Front. So this is the best part. JD Vance and Mike Johnson spoke at the not Patriot Front, but same thing, March for Life in DC, and they are all standing behind a bulletproof glass shield. Why? Why would they? Whatever would that be for? Why would they need a bulletproof glass shield? Could you be possibly afraid of the very base that you've ginned up, that you've fed lies to, that you have hopped up on all the drugs? It's just like that you put in this like hot box of bullshit and armed to the teeth and allowed them to get any kind of weaponry possible. Are you afraid of them? Are you afraid that maybe 1,500 insurrectionists were just pardoned the other day by Donald Trump? Maybe they're in the audience. Maybe they want your head in a noose next time. You couldn't possibly be afraid. It's not like the RNC has metal detectors. It absolutely does. Like, this is just, it's such a glimpse into like where we are going. This isn't rain. Motherfucker, this is a bulletproof vest. Like, where we are going is like, Mad Max-esque, like, man stands in massive tower, like armed guards all around while he preaches to the audience, how we all have to hate one another. Anyway, bye. You kill each other later. Keep hating one another, dickwads.
I was born in January 1972. It was almost exactly 1 year before Roe v. Wade became the law of the land.
Oh, just missed it. Born in January 1972.
I was the product of an unplanned teen pregnancy, and I am so eternally grateful that my mom and dad ignored all the people who told them to just take care of that problem.
God damn it, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. You should have taken care of that problem. He wouldn't have known the difference. We wouldn't have known the difference. What's just another just another Republican, just another brown-nosing little beta cuck? That's all he is. There would be many more like him. You should have taken care of that problem. Look at where he is now, this motherfucking House of Cards ass dude.
And they chose to embrace life and to have me, the first of their 4 children. If they...
Yeah. So you're saying there would have been more?
It's a simple fact, a very simple fact. If they had not done that, then I would not be here. And I often wonder who else we have missed and what those individuals.
Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Tom Homan, let's see, Elise Stefanik, she could go. There's so many, and this is, I wrote a satirical column for the American Prospect magazine not too long ago, actually maybe about a year ago at this point, talking about, why do Republicans want to ban abortions? And he just told you, he just said it. He just said, I wouldn't have been around were I not born to people who ultimately probably shouldn't have had me in the first place. And that is exactly the self-fulfilling prophecy of anti-choice Republicans. They need people to be forced into birth, into a parenthood, because they need to keep creating little angry, closeted, unloved fucks like themselves. They have to keep the factory open. You can't close down the factory. If every child that's born in this country is born to a healthy, happy family that feels confident about bringing another life into this world and is properly supported by their own government, by their community, by their families, and their housing is stable, what fun is that? That's not fun. We can't torture that person. We can't make them a stupid little worker bee who believes that lasers are starting wildfires. Where's the fun in that? We can't groom little anti-Semites into existence. We can't create people who need to have a deal with their son worked out so that they each simultaneously check their phones for pornography usage. You know what I'm saying? They have to keep the lights on to their project of having more hateful people in the world. If we all feel loved, or we all feel supported, or we all feel like our parents had enough time for us, gross. And again, this is not to say that you and your life and your family and the fact that maybe you yourself were born in hardship, that you are not also a precious little person. But I'm sorry, this is the party that thinks we're not all special snowflakes, and that yet they're like, cluster of cells. A cluster of cells. You're not a snowflake. You're a cluster of cells. You're a piece of cum. You're a sock cum. You little sock cum. You little Kleenex cum. Shut up. You're not a special snowflake. Facts don't care about your feelings. You thought cum. Anyway. There's more. I know you want a little bit more. Let's see if there's any more.
Might have contributed to our society and our world, but they were just this.
Contributed to our society. Yes. He wants to, here's what's fun about the handmaids of the oligarchy telling us that life is so important and life matters, and they could, these people who could contribute to the world and all that. It's like, where are they going to contribute to the world? What world? There's no world. What world do you want left? What are you want them to work in your house? Where do you want them to work in the Amazon mega warehouse where all kinds of egregious worker violations are taking place? Where do you one of the bits I didn't play from the Rogan interview with Mark Zuckerberg the other day is he basically said, yeah, we're really looking forward to replacing software engineers and coders with AI. And it's like, of course they are. So even if you do have an education, even if you're good in, computer sciences or coding, you follow the right path, you do what you do to try and, get a stable white collar job, we're going to replace you anyway. We're going to pay you for that. You're going to get money for maybe having contributed to some of the breakthrough coding that's given us so many modern inventions. No, you're not going to get paid out. You're just going to get replaced. We're in it, people. We are in it. Hang on. I didn't fully finish who was pardoned. because I wanted to just actually go into that really quick. Okay, this is from Axios, because you think I'm joking. We covered this story, what, 2 years ago when it came out about the people with fetuses. So he signed their pardons. White House Staff Secretary Will Scharf told Trump all the pardons were for peaceful pro-life protesters who were prosecuted by the Biden administration. Trump said many of the activists were elderly people. Okay. Among those convicted under the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act and pardoned by Trump was Lauren Handy, 31, who was sentenced to nearly 5 years in prison for leading the blockade that prosecutors said resulted in a nurse spraining her ankle. Police then found fetuses at Handy's Capitol Hill home, which anti-abortion activists said related to an illegal late-term abortions. Of course, she was never charged with any offense in relation to this, which is fucking insane, people. She committed so many crimes, trespassing, whatever, like theft. She broke into, I'm assuming, some sort of hazardous waste truck. I believe that's what she did. Stole fetuses, and then kept them in her fucking home, y'all. There were like 11 of them or something. Oh, hell yeah. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Giving real Chaya Reichik vibes. I'm sorry, if you're just listening, you know who I'm talking about. I love how, like, and yes, I'm gonna make fun of how people look, because fuck you. I don't give a shit. I'm making fun of how you look. I love how, like, Chaya Reichik is like the gender police of like what is masculine and what is feminine, and she looks like a door. I'm sorry, you can't go around looking like a door with a dress on. All right? I just, you know what I'm saying? And be like, I'm policing femininity. Fuck you. So again, this was her, Lauren Handy, which is just the perfect name. Miss Handy arrived for an appointment she had made at a clinic under a false name. She and the defendant forcibly pushed their way into the waiting room and used their bodies, furniture, chains to ropes to block its doors. Defendants were live streaming. Not 11 fetuses. I'm sorry, guys. 5. She became the focus of widespread public attention in 2022, the day after she was charged in connection with the clinic blockade, when the police announced they'd found 5 fetuses in a home that the anti-abortion group said was hers. The Metropolitan Police Department in the District of Columbia said investigators had acted on a tip about potential biohazard material. Miss Handy's basement, investigators carried out evidence of Miss Handy's basement in red biohazard bags and coolers. Miss Handy declined to say what was in the coolers, but said people would freak out when they heard. Like, it's not that big of a deal to keep like a fetus. Stop freaking out. Miss Handy and the founder of the anti-abortion group, Teresa Bukovinak, claimed they obtained a box of 115 fetuses from the driver of a medical waste truck outside of the clinic. Who is the freak? Who is the freak? I'm sorry, but like, who's disgusting? Who's amoral? The person who is having a real normal one, abortion, tale as old as time, real normal thing to happen. But then, or the person who's like, no, I'm going to take that abortion and keep it in a freezer in my home. That is godly. That is godly. You know what else is godly? Godly is making a parent watch their unviable baby be born and then die within hours in the palm of their hands. That's godly. I swear to God, guys, the fucking rage. The rage. Join me. The rage. You know, you didn't think it could get this bad, right? Like you didn't I didn't think it could get this bad. But you know, then you go back and you're like, oh yeah, Obama didn't make the right to an abortion an amendment, or you know, make it law. Just kind of like, well, we're gonna rely on this court case. We're just gonna rely on this court case as precedent. It'll get hacked to bits. There will be astroturfed, lawyers and cases and plaintiffs to slowly chip it away. But we're not gonna. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Why? Biden can't even say the word abortion. He couldn't. Oh, but it was his stutter, probably. It was probably just his stutter, that reason he couldn't say abortion. Just absolutely wild. And then, of course, you've got these MFers. I swear to God, the amount of swearing. I've been demonetized, which is why it's so wonderful that Ariane Marshall gifted 5 subs. That's so nice of you, Ariane. Thank you. You get access to all that bonus material, all the Wednesday shows. Mark Gogan, member for 8 months. Franny should be the leader of the revolution. When I find the time. No, it's important for everyone to get involved. Working Families Party had a mass call last night. I don't know if anyone was on it. I encourage people to sign up for their mass calls, and also Working Families Party in wherever you are. Same with DSA. You know, pick your poison. There's a lot of groups out there, even an indivisible group, you know, that can be a little bit libby, but they're doing action, right? And we only have one another, and you can be the change in terms of making that space better, more robust, organizing your neighbors, and maybe it's a tenants union. Oh, I feel like I'm getting sick. Rochelle Van, love your new show on Zateo. Thank you so much. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Warner Van Alphen, thanks for becoming a member. And Rochelle Van, why is everyone being so sweet? Rochelle, gifting 5 memberships. Tanya Dodgers gifting 5 memberships. What is this? What's happening? Why are you guys amazing? Thank you so much. And I hope everyone enjoys those new memberships. The One Love presents Bars. Funny part, they'll always bring up Black abortion rates while never doing anything about the Black people they murder with impunity. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, or they'll bring up like the founding of, what was it? Planned Parenthood had like racist beginnings and things like that. It's like, no, man, this is about poor people. Poor people are the ones who won't be able to have abortions. Rich people will be able to find abortion providers. And that's, you know, the way it's always been. And yeah, they don't care, because forcing people to have more children than they would like, because let's remember, 60% of people who seek abortions already are parents, is part of strapping them with poverty. I mean, I know it sucks to say this, but we've had I can't remember her name, but we talked about on this show that, like, you know, sadly, in this country, becoming a parent is the leading cause of poverty, period. Becoming a mom is the leading cause of poverty among women, which sucks. It sucks to say that. How can you say that? No, it's true. It's just statistically true, because it's expensive, because you have to find childcare, because, you know, you whatever, you can't take the days off. You know, that's what it is. So it is absolutely a part of the class war. That's what it's designed to do. It has nothing to do with, you know, even if you personally would never get an abortion, that's fine. It has nothing to do with your personal view. It has nothing to do with, you know, your God or whatever. Progressive Boomer, member for 18 months. I got some splaining to do. Wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Is a line from David Bowie's Suffragette City. You're a great modern suffragette. Keep doing it. Thank you. Chaotic Neutral Dragon. Love you. Keep being awesome. And by the way, if you're a member, I do read your comments, because they get all like highlighted for me. And you know, also, if you're like Boston Brian, you give a super chat. What up, Franny? Congratulations on your new gig. Thanks for continuing this fight. Thank you. William McGregor, 75% of the California farm workers have not reported to the fields this week during a crucial harvesting period. $25 a side salad, anyone? Yeah. You thought orange juice, fresh squeeze, was expensive? Now, poof. I have some orange trees near my house. I'm like, I got to water these babies. It hasn't rained in a million years. You know, LA may get some rain over the weekend. We will see. Before time, thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your humor and your message. We love you, Francesca. Robert, technically every father is an MFer. That's exactly right. And Texan in TC, hey, thank you for becoming a member. Guys, I'm going to be if you've made it this far in the podcast, cool. If you've made it this far in the stream, cool. Matt and I are looking at cities we might tour, and we're circling around. There's a lot of people in Toronto. If you're anywhere near Toronto, there's a lot of listeners in Toronto. I have a lot of listeners in Denver, and viewers. There's a lot of folks in, Seattle. That's huge, but Texas is a big one. A lot of people in Texas. Houston specifically, but Houston is just bigger. Austin is also a city in Texas I can name. San Antonio is also a city in Texas I can name. Also Dallas is a city I can name. I'm not going to go there. The point is we're going to bring some live stand-up and podcast shows to y'all in the flesh. So stay tuned for that and holler at me if you have preferences on where we should go. But a siren's going to pass and it's going to annoy me to shit real quick. Speaking on abortion, though, oh, what is things on fire? Come on. Instagram and Facebook are blocking and hiding abortion pill providers' posts. Some posts related to obtaining abortion pills were recently hidden on Instagram and Facebook, and some accounts were suspended before later being restored. Oops. I'm just trying to blend in. Aha. They've blurred, blocked, or removed posts from 2 abortion pill providers. Instagram also suspended the accounts of several abortion pill providers and hid the providers from appearing in search and recommendations. Yeah, man, the fact that I've said abortion now however many times, your super chats actually help, and you supporting the show on Patreon actually helps, and memberships help, because this will be demonetized because I said abortion too many times. Certainly can't put it in the title. So in case we didn't know that, censorship already alive and well, not just on issues like Palestine, but on issues of abortion. That being said, everyone needs to @ YouTube about I Am Blakely's account on YouTube. If you guys know Blakely, she's wonderful and she speaks out about Palestine. She's been on my show, and she has lost the ability to monetize on YouTube, which is fucked. Meta did confirm that some suspensions and the blurring of posts. The company restored the accounts and posts on Thursday after the New York Times asked about the actions. They've been under scrutiny since Mark Zuckerberg, as chief executive, announced sweeping changes to the company's speech policies. Mr. Zuckerberg vowed to loosen restrictions on online speech. I'm sorry. Wait, hang on. I'm sorry. I don't get it. Someone make it make sense. Because if you're loosening speech regulations, shouldn't we be able to talk about abortion and spread information about how to get abortion pills? You must be missing something. You just forgot. You must have just forgotten. This couldn't be a cherry-picked way to give the Christian nationalist oligarchs more wins, right? That's not what free speech is about, right? Right? Yeah. So that's fun. In addition to, I don't know if anyone else was forced to follow JD Vance on Instagram. Were you guys forced to follow JD Vance on it? Were you automatically following? I was like, I'm not automatically, and I looked, and it was like I had been automatically following. And apparently, the story goes that if you were following like Kamala Harris on Instagram, you were then automatically following JD Vance. I feel like they should let you know. Would you like to still follow this account? Okay, before we leave, abortion rights, I did just want to mention this one thing, because you guys know that in this week, through the executive order, the Trump administration said there's only 2 genders, right? And this is an article from the New Republic that basically is reading into that executive order and wondering if there isn't also fetal personhood rights snuck into it. Now, the reason that fetal personhood rights matter and are really, really dangerous, as I've said many times, I covered this in El Salvador. El Salvador put the rights of the unborn into their constitution. What does that mean? It means then that anyone who is carrying a fetus, usually a woman, not always though, if you know, and this is already starting to happen. Let's say you're not supposed to eat like, deli meat. What if you eat deli meat and it could hurt the, unborn child? Or you have a glass of wine and it could hurt the unborn child, or heaven forbid, you have a miscarriage. Suddenly, you're not just a victim of a thing that is supernatural and happens a lot and should be adequately cared for. You could be convicted of a crime because you might have done something to cause the miscarriage. Oh, and heaven forbid, if you actually don't want to carry that pregnancy to term and you want to terminate the pregnancy, that is obviously murder. So we're heading down the slope, and this is what the New Republic's Ellie Quinlan Hotaling, that's the name. This is what they wrote. A flurry of executive orders that President Trump signed into place Monday night included one that cemented language at the executive level to delegitimize transgender identities. But within the fold of that order, titled Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government, the Small Penis Act, lay another damaging detail: the elevation of fetal personhood to the national stage. Female means, this is from the order, female means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. What? The order reads in part, male means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the small reproductive cell. Unfortunately, there seems to be a misunderstanding by the executive's order's authors. All fetuses have phenotypically female genitalia until they reach 6 to 7 weeks of gestation, at which point some fetuses can start to be visually differentiated as male according to the NIH, which again now has been hollowed out. By describing a fetus, in other words, we're all women. We're all women initially. We're all female initially, not women. We're all female. And then, and I hate this word, but I kind of love this word. And then you start to see the little gonads, in there. You got to have fun with it. The gonads can be seen, and then you're like, oh, it's it's one of the shitty ones. Just kidding. By describing a fetus as a person from conception, my audience is like 80-20 men to women. You guys put up with a lot, and I love you. That's why you get laid. By describing a fetus as a person from conception, Trump has legitimized fetal personhood. Pro-abortion activists have long warned that fetal personhood, an ideology that calls for providing equal human rights to a fetus, even if it's a cluster of cells, will effectively strip pregnant people of their own rights. Exactly. So if you describe the fetus, let's go back. Female means a person belonging, a person. You see that word? Female means a person belonging at conception to the sex that produces the large reproductive cell. What do they mean, large reproductive? Is that some shit that I don't know? But this is the word. The word person is the key word here. By describing a fetus as a person from conception, Trump has legitimized fetal personhood, yada, yada. But the concept of fetal personhood is not only weaponized to limit abortion access, it's also been leveraged at the state level to restrict in vitro fertilization access for intended parents in such places as Alabama, and even used to limit access to forms of birth control. In May, the Texas GOP attempted to transform fetal personhood into law, claiming that abortion is not health care, it is homicide, and called on lawmakers to extend equal protection of the laws to all preborn children from moment of fertilization. Republican lawmakers in Kentucky, Georgia, South Carolina introduced similar legislation in 2023. All of those bills were defeated, even with some state Republicans deeming them too extreme. I mean, it all goes out the window at that point, right? Because, I think there was a story out of New York where a woman needed something like seizure medication, some really dire medication, and so it's a blue state. And the doctor asked her if she was of reproductive age, like if she was still fertile, because this drug could have an impact on her fertility. And she was like, I don't want to have a child. I want to have my medication. And there was a delay in her getting her medication. And again, this is all the idea that you're not if you're not a mom now, you could be. And which I'm like, okay, if we can reverse engineer this, and our wombs are simply empty vessels for better human beings than ourselves, and we should take care of them in all times, because if we don't, they that child or that cluster of cells could die. Can I get universal health care? Can I get free health care? Not for the people who can't have children, but just for the people who can? Can we just all uteruses get free health care? Can we do that? If you're going to criminalize us because we may or may not or could be at one point become pregnant, you're going to call it homicide if our body does a natural thing like miscarry. Could we fortify it a little bit? No, of course not. It's bullshit. They're like, unless you can find a way to get a Glock up inside of you, that's the only kind of protection you're going to have. Hope those little zygote fingers can get their hands around the trigger. Holy shit. Benjamin Morrill, so sweet, giving out a one very wonderful person membership. Thank you so much. But Werner Van Alphen, with the most Werner Van Alphen move, giving 10 memberships. That is so nice of you, Ben. I didn't mean to sort of like pit you against Werner, but like Werner's name is Werner. And that's 10 memberships, and holy shit. Greg Wright, Franny, you, Majority Report, Kyle Kalinske, and Hassan are how I stay sane. Hang in there. Your voice is more important than you know. Thanks, dude. I would really like to get Kyle on the show. Steven Sayers said, you and Boston Brian would be great to see. Okay. And Werner also following up with a really generous super chat. That is so nice of you. Before time, welcome to new membership. Hey, let's go over to Twitch and see what's happening. Hunger Games 1989, subscribed. Every time Franny says her producer's Paige name, I think she's saying my name, as my name is also Paige. It's a good name. Paige is a good person. I love her. She's great. Anyway, nothing to worry about, guys. Nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Speaking of fine, Simu Liu. Sorry. It's not funny. It's objectifying. Simu Liu, the Canadian actor, who is in a Marvel movie that I now forget the name of because I'm terrible with Marvel movies, but it's one of the ones that I saw. Which one was he in, guys? He said this over on, I guess, TikTok. Here's what he had to say. He is someone who is wealthy, and he's looking at the Trump tax cuts. This is very sweet. He was in, Shang-Chi. Yeah, Shang-Chi, however you pronounce it, even though I'm Chinese.
So I'll preface by saying that I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but I live in America. I own property in America, and I pay American taxes. And I read the new administration's new tax plan, and it looks like I get a tax cut. And I guess I just wanted to say that I don't need a tax cut. I'm happy to pay taxes. I believe I should pay taxes, and I actually believe that people like me should probably pay more tax.
Oh, bay, just bay.
I've been very fortunate and am very privileged, and I'm happy to pay my fair share. And I guess it's just a little confusing.
This is surprising. Like, I don't know his background. Like, he may come from, like, I don't know where he comes from. I'm just like, but it doesn't even matter where he comes from in terms of, like, is he working class? Is he, like, upper class, privilege, whatever. But, like, you never hear this. You never hear someone who has money be like, I don't really need all of this money. Like, I'm happy to pay taxes. It's always like, it's sort of like vague, or it's like, they'll come out in moments where, they're stumping for a candidate, and it's sort of that, but like to say it so squarely, like, I don't need a tax break. In fact, I think people like me should pay more taxes, and I don't have a problem with paying taxes. In fact, the only other person, and maybe there's others and you guys can tell me, but the only other person I've heard speak like this is Cardi. Cardi's also said, like, because Cardi sees how much she pays in taxes, and she's like, I pay a fuck ton in taxes, but I also don't care. Like, I'm happy to pay these taxes. It's important to pay taxes, and give every celebrity time, because I'm sure at some point they will, I love him, but 50 Cent is like, he's like, I don't want to pay more taxes. And it's like, yeah, dude, okay. But like, your vodka's trash, all right? Or whatever drink you're trying to hawk. Anyway, so this is just really rare to hear people talk like this.
Confusing to me, because in this tax plan, 95% of Americans, basically Americans that make less than $360,000 a year, will not get tax cuts. They will have their taxes go up, which means their cost of living will go up and their income will go down. And that's really shitty. And I'm just so confused, because you have so much of the American population who voted for a president that so clearly does not act in their best interest. And, instead of attacking the root causes of whatever is contributing to this massive wealth disparity, is instead, distracting the public with issues and really throwing, like, scapegoating women, people of color, and queer people and trans people. And I think it's clear to me what's really happening, which is that capitalism is running rampant, and there's massive deregulation that's really allowing for the creation of these multi-billionaires who have at this point amassed so much wealth that they can buy media companies and very easily influence, politics and policy, and change the course of elections. And I guess it's all just a little bit scary to me, in a very roundabout way of saying that I don't need tax cuts, and I guess just making a verbal promise to myself that any money that I save from these tax cuts in this administration, I will be donating instead. But yeah, hope
I love him. He's that, like, I love how there's like no edits on that. This is very sweet. Yeah, so he's gonna donate it. What's funny about donating is when you donate, you also get a tax write-off. So a lot of very rich people will donate, and then they'll use that donation as a tax write-off, but whatever. It's still really, really nice. They end the tax deduction for interest on home mortgages, one of the most prized sections of the tax code. Oh boy, I'm looking at their new tax plan. So you can't deduct the interest on your home mortgage, which, again, not only rich people own homes, although, in some people in our world, it's like, oh, wow. This is, okay. They're basically looking at the same kind of tax cut so what Simu Liu said is that if you make less than $360,000, you're not going to get any kind of cut. They are also going after the Affordable Care Act, and so this is all what they will slash in order to pay for their Trump wants a massive tax cut and immigration crackdown. Now Republicans must decide what to cut to help pay for it. So the tax cut are for, again, the wealthy and corporations. Now, if you've been watching the Majority Report, Sam keeps on saying this is a massive transfer of wealth. That's exactly what it is. This is a direct transfer of wealth from the poor, from the sick, from all of us. I believe they're getting rid of the child tax deduction, so you can't deduct whatever, $600 it is if you have a child, so parents, and they're just transferring it to the wealthy. Also, a 10% tariff on all imports. Again, for those of us who don't buy, because, by the way, if you want to buy a yacht, if you want to buy a private jet, you can write those off. But for those of us who buy like TVs and fridges, or like a couch, or, whatever, a vacation or some shit. But like, again, us plebes, although those are big ticket items, 10% tariff, a 10% raise. They could establish new work requirements for Medicaid recipients. people who are already disabled, who are poor, who are new parents or children. What are you going to do? Make children work? You're going to make disabled people work? That's the entire fucking point of Medicaid. It's saying that people, no matter who they are or how much money they make or how they were born, are not discardable, are not expendable. That they have value, that we all have value beyond how much money we can generate for your economy, for your boss. That's the reality. It's like, I mean, it's funny because it makes you go back and look at Andrew Yang, which, by the way, Andrew Yang had a tweet the other day that was like, oh, Bernie really should have won. Fuck you. Shut up, Mr. Andrew Yang math guy. You're so obnoxious, little libertarian ass. Like, it's just like, you ran against, what didn't he run against Bernie? Like, come on. But Andrew Yang's like universal basic income, which is $1,000 a month, which is truly nothing. But it's like they want to do all this and not even offer UBI. It's like they're goading us with class war. Like they're goading us to actually like take action. They're goading us. They're goading us. Mass strike, general strike 2028. Let's go. They're goading us to get involved. They're daring you to sit at home. They're daring you to do nothing. They're daring you to stay quiet. They're daring you. That's what this is. They're daring you. They're daring you to not have community. They're daring you to not reach out to people. They're daring you to not organize. They're daring you to not run for office. Anyway, I just really appreciated that from Simu Liu, and it was it was important. Guys, why don't we call that a Friday? What a Friday it's been. What a week it's been. Don't worry, there's more next week. It'll be bad. Who's on our show next week? I don't know. Good people, cool people. It's going to be great. Please become a patron, patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Thank you so much for the people who've upped their pledges. We're going to talk to Sam Zimbaris about the idea of housing first. In an age of mistreatment and malignment and misinformation on the unhoused, Sam Zimbaris has his theory is housing first. Hey, what if people all had housing? Now, we've talked about this on our show before, showing how being unhoused often leads to things like mental illness, leads to things like drug addiction. When you live outside, you can be particularly susceptible to those things. So Sam's going to be on, as well as comedian Pallavi Gunalan. It's going to be great. Following that, Adam Johnson and Emma Vigeland on the same show. No big deal. We'll hope Emma doesn't get sick. Mr. Andrew, thank you for becoming a member. Look for Lex's. Shout out to my partner Amanda, who can't even watch the news because trauma. I do so for the both of us to trickle down information. Shout out to her and her daughter, who are more affected than me. Yes, I feel you. So you gotta have a way to decompress, whether it's doing something physical, getting out, going on a run, yoga, or just like a good TV show that you like. Simba Dragon, to be fair, Franny, state and county conventions don't start for Dems until the spring. That's when we vote to oust and change. The Dem party is more than what you see on TV. I feel you. I know. I guess, though, can we see a little bit more of them on TV, But yes, the change, it all comes down to a lot of these local fights in state Democratic parties and also, the DNC. I know those matter. I know they do. I'm just at my I'm very much at my end of my tolerance for the Democrats right now. I mean, I will tolerate. Democrats are tolerable. That's the difference. They're tolerable. Republicans intolerable. Rage Rock for now. Thank you, Francesca, for providing me with so much AI and always informative. I think I read that right. Simba Dragon, help us educate voting Dems to make changes, please. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay. We'll talk. Yes. I mean, I have Jonathan Smucker's words in my head when he said he feels like the 2024 election really threw into question the approach of some organizations being a little complacent. And again, these are like grassroots organizations that have done great work, but have often, worked with the Biden administration. And he was saying, like, there's a limit to that maybe we should have been more vocal, more sit-ins, more disruptive, that the Sunrise Movement sitting in Nancy Pelosi's office, that should have been a regular sit-in, right? Like that, we needed more of those kinds of actions and less complacency, right? There always needs to be a threat of disruption for people who are not working for us. But of course, yes, we have to understand when votes are happening, who's on these committees, who is in your, state party, and all the rest. Drowned in Sound, look up the Patriotic Millionaires. Okay. Maybe some more Simu Lius, some good people. Colin Chepka, thank you for your super chat. Canadian here. Tariffs are controlling discourse here. Going to be a mess. P.S. Your husband in Toronto. P.S. Bring your husband to Toronto when you come and I'll buy extra tickets. No, I think Toronto, like, there's a lot of y'all there. There's a lot of y'all. Robert, thank you for your super chat. Team Trump knows they can't win in midterms, so they will not have a normal midterms. Oh, story I forgot to do. But by the way, there's I think a measure just introduced, or some resolution to allow Donald Trump to run for a third term. Hey, there it is. You know what I'm saying? We were all waiting for that. It probably won't happen, but you never know. Constitutional amendment to allow Trump a third term introduced into the House. It's just like, how big of a brown noser can you be? I mean, it truly is. This is amazing. Maybe we'll talk about it on Tuesday. Representative Andy Ogles of Tennessee introduced the measure days after Trump was sworn in. Just like, oh, please, love me. I get the constitutional amendment. Allow Trump and any other future president to be elected to a third term in the White House. I mean, look, I am of the belief that him terming out should not be the reason that he loses an election. Can I get an amen on that? Like we cannot allow just like, well, he termed out, so we're safe. No, whoever we run again, we should imagine they are running, or Dems run again, or another party runs again. We should imagine they're running against Donald Trump. If it's not him, it's someone it's someone very much like him. And I'm not against having someone be in office for 3 terms if they're good. I'm like, seriously, I'm not. I don't think that's a horrible thing. But of course, it's going to happen under a Donald Trump presidency with all these brown nosers in office. Love y'all. We'll see you on Tuesday. You're the best. Thank you for supporting the show. Bye.